lose the weight. There's more about this in the journal Pediatrics. We typically think of kids when we hear about disorders like ADHD.
Yeah, but more and more adults these days are getting diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Dr. Joe tonight's here with us in studio with why treatment for the very same problem might be quite different. Tell us, Joe.
Well, for starters, we know a lot more about ADHD than we did 20 years ago, a time when the disorder might have been missed. These days, more and more adults are being diagnosed later in life. As many as 8 million Americans suffer from it, but instead of treating the problem with pills, some doctors are using a computer and a mouse.
Light blue. Light blue. Red. Red.
This former college professor is now becoming the student.
Things that I knew perfectly well enough to talk about in class, weren't there anymore.
Dr. Jack Lohman says he couldn't remember where he put his keys, along with information he'd studied for decades.
I was forgetting a lot of facts, and names of poets, and the names of poems.
And that led him here to use a computer program called Brain Train. With each click of the mouse, he's stimulating the parts of the brain that will help him remember.
It's like taking your brain to the gym and exercising it and getting that muscle pumping and working effectively.
Psychologist Wendy Rice says she uses Brain Train for kids and adults aged 7 and older to help attention deficits, memory problems, and improve processing speeds.
You start off playing for short amounts of time, and then as you play, the games get longer and longer. So while you would initially start paying attention for 3 minutes at a time, after you're playing for a couple of weeks, you're sustaining attention for 5 or 6 minutes at a time.
And while she says it doesn't replace stimulant pills like Ritalin or Adderall, it does help some ADHD patients avoid them in the first place.
I've seen folks who have not needed to start medication because they've done well enough after doing Brain Train.
The Brain Training certainly improves that, improves my ability to remember.
Jack says the program is working for him.
Houseman's epilogue would do for starts. Many a peer of England brews stronger liquor than the Muse.
And he's now able to remember some of the poetry he loves best.
More likely to remember who it was that said it and what they said it in, and yes.
Now, according to a recent JAMA report, adults with ADHD on medication did better when they added behavioral therapy. Patients learned relaxation and skill-building techniques to help them organize their time. As for the Brain Train program, you can also buy a subscription to use it in your own home, but Dr. Rice recommends that you get help from a healthcare professional to make sure it's the right choice for you or your child. Denise?
Thank you, Dr. Joe.